Hey guys, I'm back with my projects, and while I'm doing all this miscellaneous stuff, I want to light up a little cigar. This is the New World. I got some hopefully good news. Oh, and I'm working on fixing this axe. I don't know if you can see it. I saw a video how to get that shiny edge on. So what you do is you do it with a file. Guy said use a little piece of wood, so I got this piece. Put it over it as the angle, which is 5 degrees, right there. And I looked at it underneath, and it's flattened against it, because you don't want to take that lump off. That's the lump that helps you split the wood, right? So I was just doing this, and then later I can follow that angle. It's not really perfect, but this is just a little hatchet. I'm gonna sharpen it with a round stone that's called a puck. And I went through my drawers, and I saw it the other day. So give me some time, and I'll find it. And then I'm gonna work on this, because this is not exactly. Let's see. Okay. It's not exactly sharp. So I'm gonna work on that also. And the news is this. As you saw in my other video, I found a leak on the tank. It did have a leak. We think it's on the side of the tank. I said, okay, well, that's it for today. Let's go for a walk. And we went to the other marina. And we went and just looking at yachts. I like this one. Oh, I like that one. And I saw a huge main ship, 47. Never even knew that made that big. Wide. The lady told me it's very few made. Beautiful boat. Anyways, we're walking around. This is Sunday, Mother's Day. And then I noticed that there is a guy working, this Mexican guy working on a yacht, and he was doing something with gel coat or paint. He was just touching up something. And he heard us speak Spanish, because we were talking in Spanish. And he turned around and said, oh, how you doing? So I said, hey, what are you doing working on a Sunday? It's Mother's Day. He goes, oh, no, I got to finish here because the only ones, I said, all right. So when I got to look at him, this guy was thin, right? About my height, but he was a thin guy, All right. And I said, hey, you think you can get into a tight hole to see if I can find a leak on a tank? So he said, yeah, maybe I can get in there. Just let me know when you want to do it. So he gave me his number and his name, and I'm gonna call him up and settle for a day, set up for a day to go there. Let's start working on it. Let's see if he can get in there. So I want to put some tarp in there and make it a little more comfortable, so he can back in, fold down, and then he's facing the tank, right? And I went and bought this rough. It's already in the car. This rough pad cleaned barbecues. And I'm gonna give him some acetone, and I'm gonna ask him, okay, put some acetone in this, and scrub the tank, clean it, because it's got, you know how aluminum gets that blotchiness, white little magnesium thing, whatever it is. Well, once we clean it, I'm going to start pumping gas into the tank to bring it up to level, because I want you to feel first and see if you can feel anything that tells you it's a crack, right? And then if he finds it, then we're going to mark it with a marker, circle it, and then prepare the material. I want to set up some strong lights. I got some construction lights that is going to make that dark corner into daylight, right? So boom, light it up, and maybe he can see it. And I'm hoping that it's in that area, because then we can get to it with the patch and patch it, right? Now, and I'm hoping that it's at the beginning of the tank on this side, because the gas is peeling only the front area there, not towards the back, because if the fuel is spilling, this is my logic, my reasoning. If the tank is peeling from the back, it should be peeling the paint on the whole side of the tank. But there's also a possibility that the fuel is going under the tank and then it reaches the end and it kind of comes out a little bit and then it flows down the canal. If that's the case, if the crack is behind it and we can get back there because it's pretty close to the hull of the boat, and it's I don't think it's fiberglass on that side, but if there's no way to reach it, then I'm just going to pump everything out into the other tanks, leave some gas in there, otherwise the boat's going to be leaning. In fact, my neighbor was saying, hey, why is your boat leaning right now? And I said, well, I'm putting gas. Because she just came in. So she saw it from the front and you could see it's leaning a little bit. So I need to have some gas there that I can still use. I'll take about, I'll bring it down to 35 gallons. That's going to be a good 10 inches away from the crack. And it's not going to spill, because when the boat takes off, the gas is going to rush towards the back. So the gap is going to be like that between the fuel and the crack. So that's the plan. I'm hoping that this thin guy can get in there. It's a tight spot. I don't know if he can get in there, but he says he's going to try. And then if we can patch it, then the problem is solved. Because that patching material, a lot of videos and people patching it, and it works. In fact, my friend the mechanic, he patched the tank and he said it was hard as a rock, and he put the tank back in, it patched the holes, everything was fine. So that's the news, that I might be able to repair the tank. Luckily I got another spare tank that I can use. So let's see what happens. We also met this couple that the guy turns out to be Cuban. And he's got a, what do you call it? A Mainship 30. He showed it to me. You've probably seen it in the other video. And I'm going to ask him for a ride, just a ride around the marina. He says, oh, this thing is easy. This thing is easy. He kept saying, easy to ride. He can drive all day and still have, you know, almost the same, says the needle hardly moves. He was very excited about that. All right, let me see if I can find that stone. Well, I can't find the damn thing. I usually like to put things related to each other, right? So knives, sharpening stuff, etc. So can't find it. So I went to the kitchen and got this. Okay, I'm gonna use my knife thing. I saw a video that the guy doesn't recommend the type of sharpener that you run through, right? He says that it only gives you a temporary edge. It doesn't really last that long. And he showed up. He had one of those microscopic cameras that you can see the edge, and the edge looked very rough, very, very rough. I couldn't find that puck, because that puck is for axe. It's to sharpen axe and hatchets. So, okay, so the red one is, the yellow is the roughest. Well, actually, let me do a knife too. The problem that I'm having is the angle. What I end up doing, I end up rounding off the edges. And this little thing is supposed to help you, but I mean, you gotta, it's kind of hard to do both, you know. Yeah, It's just to give you an idea where to keep it. But I think this angle's too steep. All right, let's move it to the red. Let me try this little piece over here. Stone. I also seen people do this. They just rotate. I had some friends that they were butchers and they knew how to sharpen a knife. All right, let's try it here. Okay, it's a little better. Let's see. Yeah, not good enough. There's another system called what's it called? The lap. And what it does, it grabs the knife, and then you grab the stone, and you run it. You run it. And I said, you know what? That's giving you the right angle, because it's all about the angle. It don't matter what stone it is. It could be Arkansas. I have it here too, but it's about the angle that gives you that fine edge. You know what? Let me try it with the Arkansas. I mean, it's not meant to be used this way. Not really. Like I said, I'm lousy at this. All right, try it again. No. No, not even, well, maybe one. Jesus. Really? I mean, I can cut paper, that's about it. But when you shave your hand, when you can shave your arm, you can cut me really. Yeah, look, I got $1. I made it worse. I made it worse. Let me see. Let's do it this way. Oh, and I went to Harbor Freight the other day, and now they're selling one identical to the buck. They're copying. I don't know. Do they pay buck for copying? Or the Chinese don't give a shit, man. They just copy anything that's good from the United States, and then they sell it as like a buck. They don't say buck. It's got a different name. I don't know what the name is. But they got some original ideas that they're good. They have come up with their own stuff, but I don't like it when they copy. I'm scraping skin is what I'm doing. I'm not really cutting any hair. No, those guys, one time I went visiting, they were watching hunting videos and whatever, and they were getting ready to go to Wyoming, and everybody were getting their gear. You know, it's exciting when you're with a bunch of guys and everybody got their gear going and their backpacks and whatever. And one of them said, "Hey, Ray, you got a knife?" I said, "Yeah, and I have my hunting knife." And within, I don't know, 2 minutes, maybe 3, he says, "Here." He went like this on his arm, and you can just shave your face with it. It was so sharp. But me, no. Okay, back to the paper. Not that good. See? Eh, I guess I'm gonna have to work on it for a solid hour and really pay attention. Use this little hatchet if I'm gonna cut a bone on a deer or something. And some of the guys are saying, wait a minute, you just said a few videos back about a year ago that you weren't hunting anymore. I said, well, let me tell you this. I have a lot of money invested into the hunting sport. You know, I got the truck with a camper, and I got the rifles and backpacks and all kinds of, you know, backpacking gear and knives and everything. What am I gonna do? Leave it in the closet? And I'm not ready to sell anything. So I got. Let me tell you how I got this little hatchet. I got a guy working for us that he would get on the bus, and the only tool he had was this. And he didn't have it on a scabbard or anything. He just got on the bus with this thing, sit in the back, and he's like this, waiting for his stop. You know, it'd be like this, waiting for his stop, and some women would be looking at him. Can you imagine the guy's walking in with a hatchet? And I said, listen, don't do that because you're going to get arrested. He goes, let me have it. And when we're going to need a little hatchet, then you can use it, right? And I kept it. I don't know where he went. But that was that was hilarious. I can tell you some stories. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Also, had this guy. He was a good tile guy. He did really good tile work. And one day he kind of sat down and started talking and confessing, you know, said that he didn't have any money to go to the doctor. This guy they had no papers. They just good construction workers. And my dad would give him jobs, you know. My dad had a soft heart, and I said, you know what, we shouldn't be really employing these people. But he would say, well, they got wives, they got kids. What are you going to do? So, but something this guy did I didn't really agree with. And he told me this with the straightest face. He says, no, every January, I think it was, I wanted to get a medical checkup. We'll get a rock and go to some store in downtown somewhere, in some shopping area, and just break a window in the store and just sit there and wait for the police to get arrested. So he will get arrested. They take him to court. Then they give him 30 days. Well, in the 30 days, they will give him a medical checkup. They would, I don't know if they will fix any teeth, to be honest, but they will give him a medical checkup. He says, I have a roof over my head, and I have, I don't know if it was 2 meals a day, because in January the construction slows down. There's not a lot of work after Christmas and New Year's. So he didn't have the money, and he couldn't afford a rent or anything, and he would do that. And I said, dude, but you know, you're abusing the system. He goes, yeah, but there's a lot of people that abuse the system. A lot of people getting welfare checks, and they got work on the side, and they get paid cash, and they declare, you know, that, you know, the women with kids and stuff that they're getting welfare checks, and they have a husband on the side that he doesn't live there, and you know, all kinds of trickery, so get advantage of the government. But when he told me, I said, don't do that, man. What do you mean you break a window? Come on. Think of the guy that has to shop, you know? What are you doing? I think he stopped. Oh. I found out that he became a preacher. So I can imagine his sermon. Do not throw rocks at windows. Oh, man, I'm telling you. What's going on over there in Minnesota? Somalian people That's really defrauding the government. They're getting millions of dollars, not just a medical checkup. Some lady that she had a Ferrari and they were towing the car away, and she said, "No, I got that from my work." I said, "They take care of children," and it was just bogus child care places. They didn't really have kids. So if there's no investigation, it's going to be a lot of fraud, because when the cat's away, the mouse will play. Luckily for us, the minute we landed, within 3 days, my dad had a job, and he worked all his life until he died at the age of 77. He got his construction license. He was a boss for the public works back in the island, and this is when there was materials to do the job, because right now there's nothing. But he would handle all these major government projects, and I would tag along with him and go with him from one end of the island to the other, visiting all these places. So he had the experience. He just didn't have the language. He studied language just before this German guy that would come in and give him lessons. The German guy knew 5 languages. That's smart. So when he got here, he had some knowledge, but not enough to really. He got here on a Wednesday. By Saturday, he had a job and never stopped working. And that's a responsible man. We never got any welfare, never got any checks from anybody. He landed on his feet. I'm not gonna say we, because I was a kid. Never had any assistance. They just give you $100 when you get here, and they say, "Welcome to America." Feels like it's eating the metal. So, but you know what? I think I'm gonna get that new system that you grab the knife and then you do that with the. I can cut meat, but this is not exactly hair shaving. Nah. That cuts a little better. Well, maybe if I work at it for another half hour. Okay, so I looked again, because I said, man, I know I saw it. And here it is. I found it. They call this the puck. And it's still in its packaging and everything. Okay, so one side is soft. I understand this is 280 and this is 120, I believe. So let me get the axe again and see if I can do something a little more, even though it's not bad. Let's see if this is going to do anything. Okay, so since I sharpen it a lot, I'm going to use the fine piece here. Well, it's sharp. It is sharp. Okay. I saw the King of England speech when he got back from the visit here, and now he's saying that the government's going to do this and the government's going to do this and that, and they're going to fix the railways, and they're going to reinforce the military, and they're going to have new energy, and they're going to work on nuclear energy for the country. And I'm going, wait a minute, that's going to need a lot of money. Where's all this money come from all of a sudden? Because England is not exactly doing too well. They don't even have money to send ships to the Persian Gulf, and they were going to send a ship, and the ship broke down, and they don't even have money for that to get it fixed. So I think when he came here, he came for a loan. Probably had a secret meeting with the banks, or with Trump, President Trump, and say, you think you can lend me some money? Because now he's got all kinds of projects. I mean, the speech was almost a good 30 minutes. And it was all about, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. So that's, they're going to invest in nuclear power. And they're probably going to start drilling in the North Sea. They have a lot of whales up in that area. They're gonna, you know, get them going. All right, let's see. Cat's a little better, but it's not as well. I want to try the Japanese guy. It's not gonna do it. Nah, not even close. Not even. It's a hassle. I don't know how to. I never got the hang of this. Never got the hang of it. So that's enough for that. And yeah, it's not exactly the lightest knife I got. Right. See you on the next one. I gotta work on my. I went to Home Depot and I got this flex tubing because I need to do a curve. So that's gonna help me. All right, I gotta get back to work. Later, guys.